Hey, this is Matt Mayoko at NBC Sports Bay Area. Thank you for following this channel. Please be sure to subscribe and like and comment, and we'll keep this thing rolling as the 49ers head into week 8 with a 3-4 record in a game that really spells desperation for both teams, the 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. I'd say especially the 49ers coming off the loss to Kansas City, and then after this is the bye week. So going to talk a lot about Brock Purdy and where he is and the expectations he is being held to. But first, this is brought to you by Canyon Club Brewery. It's a brewery, a restaurant, a beer garden, all wrapped into one in a family-friendly atmosphere in Moraga. It's right down the street from where I live. It's one of my go-to spots. Hope to see you there sometime and coming soon. Canyon Club will be opening a new location in the Danville Livery right off of 680. So that'll definitely be a spot where I'll be hitting it up quite often. So hope to see you in either Moraga or Danville real soon. Okay, for Brock Purdy, it's kind of interesting because obviously I think the standard he is being held to is kind of unique because is he having a horrible season through 7 games? I would not say that. Is he having an average season for an NFL starting quarterback? Absolutely. Yes. He ranks right there in the middle of the pack. But it just seems like he is subject to more criticism than maybe a lot of other quarterbacks. And maybe I'm wrong in that just because I'm so close to the 49ers. And so I hear a lot of the stuff being said. And I don't know exactly where that's coming from. I think a lot of times on the national stage, whenever someone is playing good, especially someone who's not a top draft pick, people seem to think that, okay, that's a way I can kind of generate some buzz by, criticizing a player whose numbers are good, who's, the eyeball test would tell you he's a really good player. And I think Brock Purdy, the reason he is subject to probably more criticism than most quarterbacks is because where he was selected in the 2022 draft, seventh round draft pick, number 262 overall. And so it's kind of counterintuitive. You would actually think that the bar would be lower for him, and the better he plays, or if he's a middle of the pack quarterback statistically, he'd be getting a lot more praise for being where he is. But last year he was clearly at the top of the list and was named an NFC starter for the Pro Bowl team. This year, it has been a still a good statistical start, but not a great statistical start by the standard that he has set up already. And just talking about where he is within the NFL, and this is why I think that it's kind of odd to me that he's getting the level of criticism, is that he's basically playing on an NFL level for free. He is the 82nd highest paid quarterback in the NFL. And he is the 57th highest paid player on the 49ers, including like their kickers make more than him, and kickers meaning plural. He's the third highest paid quarterback on the team, with both Brandon Allen and Joshua Dobbs making at least twice as much as he makes. So it's just kind of odd to me that and I realize it's a knee-jerk reaction. The NFL is set up with a game every week so that there's just a lot of conversation after every game, and people take the outcome of one game to an extreme leading into the next game. And it really is a sport where you're only judged by how you played in your latest game. But with Kyle Shanahan and Brandon Ayuk out for the season, with Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy coming under just kind of intense scrutiny coming off this game against Kansas City. Just wanted to chat about this because those guys are, I think, so connected at the hip. Brock Purdy has gotten off to the great start of his NFL career in large part because of his pairing with Kyle Shanahan, who has gotten a lot out of Brock Purdy. And I think the other way around, I think the 49ers have gotten a lot of success. Kyle Shanahan has gotten a lot of success from having Brock Purdy. So it's this combination, this symbiotic relationship, if you will, where the 49ers have been able to have high priced players at basically every position group, in large part because Brock Purdy is making, in essence, $1 million a year over those first 3 seasons. And then this offseason will be the first time that he will be eligible for a big payday. And there's nothing, I don't think, that I've seen thus far through 7 games that would make me say that, the 49ers won't be willing to pay him that big money. He has proven to be an outstanding quarterback. And I mean, the fact that he finished, fourth in the MVP voting last year would suggest that he is outperformed almost all of the higher priced quarterbacks. And if you look at him right now, who are the top quarterbacks in the league? Well, I think Lamar Jackson, clearly the best quarterback in the league at this point. And, where does Brock Purdy rank? He with a 91.2 rating coming off a 3 interception game. That's middle of the pack. That's 17th in the NFL. He still rates, here are the quarterbacks that he has a higher passer rating than. Better than Kirk Cousins, Geno Smith, Caleb Williams, the number 1 overall pick, Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers. So that's just, some of the quarterbacks that he ranks ahead of. And so I guess I don't get the just knee-jerk reaction of there's no way they should keep him. And I think that's coming from a very small portion of the fan base, or maybe it's not even coming from the fan base. Maybe it's coming from people kind of on the periphery. But this game kind of stacks up when you think about, Dak Prescott becoming the highest paid quarterback in the league. And what has he done through the first 6 games? Well, the Cowboys are 3-3. He's averaging 7.2 yards per pass attempt, 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and a passer rating of 85.5, whereas Brock Purdy averaging 8.5 yards per pass attempt, 9 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and a passer rating of 91.1. So it's just when you look at, I think average yards per attempt, that's a big one in the NFL. And Brock Purdy still ranks 3rd in that, behind Jared Goff and Lamar Jackson. So, what I know, there's a lot of talk about, special teams coach, head coach, quarterback, a lot in flux, and people are, again, I think it's a very small portion, or people trying to make a name for themselves, or just try to generate more attention, or whatever the case may be. But the bottom line is the 49ers have stunk, for several of their games this year. Their wins, 2 of them I think were good wins and showed a lot. The season opener against the Jets, when I did not think that they would get off to a good start this season, that's exactly what they did. Of course, the Jets are a mess, but this last game against Kansas City wasn't good, but that was coming off a game against Seattle that was good. But I would say this is that I've seen it before with this organization, with this team, where they've gotten off to poor starts. And the game against Kansas City, as horrible as it was for the 49ers in basically all areas, and Brock Purdy, like I said, wasn't good. In fact, here's what Kyle Shanahan had to say about Brock Purdy on Monday. He said, Brock's having a hell of a year. I don't know if I'd go that quite that far, but I think he's having a solid year, far below the standard that he has set up to this point. But he said Brock's having a hell of a year. He didn't have a good game. He didn't have his best game yesterday, meaning Sunday. So as poorly as the 49ers have played, as poorly as they have played on offense at times, defense at times, and special teams all the time, it seems like, and as perhaps out schemed and not living up to where the coaching staff should be, or has the reputation of being. 49ers are 3-4. And I don't think their season will be defined by what happened against the Kansas City Chiefs in week 7. It was a blow to the ego. You could tell that. And this upcoming game against the Dallas Cowboys, the 49ers are desperate. There's no question about it. This is a huge swing for them to go into the bye week with either a 4-4 record or a 3-5 record. If the 49ers are able to beat the Dallas Cowboys, who are coming off the bye week, I would say that it would look like all is well. And they're definitely on pace, or the final 9 games of the season, to get some guys back. Christian McCaffrey, uh, Dre Greenlaw, Debo Samuel, Jawan Jennings, and they can make a run at this thing. Now that I think the number 1 seed is kind of off the table at this point, the idea now is just win the NFC West, punch your ticket to the postseason, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But I don't think there's any question in my mind that I still consider Brock Purdy one of the elite quarterbacks in the league who will get paid like it in the offseason. And I still see no reason at all to think that Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan won't be the long-term people leading this organization going forward. And, I've seen a lot of people say, boy, in the old days, Eddie DeBartolo would have fired everybody. Well, that may be true, but the talk was back in the old days that, Eddie DeBartolo fired Bill Walsh so many times, and there was heated conversations, or Walsh would resign, and then John McVay behind the scenes would kind of patch things up, and they would move on. And, I just think of what would have happened to the 49ers if Eddie DeBartolo had, in fact, fired Bill Walsh in 1982 or 1983. 49ers still might only have one Lombardi trophy in their trophy case. So I'd say a lot of times the best move is the move that isn't made. It's a formula that's worked for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and historically with the 49ers, whenever you get a good coach and a good situation, you don't move on, even if there is a rough patch. And right now, the 49ers are going through a rough patch, or at least rough, they haven't been able to find that consistency like they want with not yet any back-to-back wins. That's something that's going to have to change for the team to maximize where they want to go this season. So again, thanks for subscribing, or if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, leave a comment and like, and that's it for now.